All right. Lastly, I'll do a little bit of a news story to have us end the day. Poll, Biden voted worst president in modern history. And this is actually a graphic I grabbed from the Daily Mail online, which is funny. They have their story here, which is what I'm going to read from. But they didn't have this photo when you click the link, but they used this photo of a very confused, lost in space. Let me open this up open the image in a new tab. They have this Biden looking off like lost in space. His hair is all messed up. He looks like, I don't know, a babushka, and an 80-year-old like Romanian grandmother in this photo. Yeah, understand he's still president. Understand he's still in charge of this country, and this is what we have. Well, anyway, let's go to the poll. Exclusive, Biden will leave office as the worst president in modern history, according to voters in a new devastating poll. Before we get into all of that, let me quickly thank today's sponsor, the wellness company, TWC Health. They've partnered with me. They got some medical emergency kits they want to tell you about. I think it's a good thing to be prepared for your future. The deep state strikes back with a clear message to create nuclear war as Trump transitions into office. Now we know why all the celebrities were building bunkers. It's confirmed NATO fires missiles into Russian territory, forcing Putin to the brink of nuclear war. We haven't been this close to World War III since the Cuban Missile Crisis, and you guys know Putin doesn't mess around, and NATO is purposefully backing him into a corner for a reason. If global disaster strikes, are you prepared? 90% of medications come from overseas. You need to cover the bases, or your bases, for you and your family's medical needs and prepare for any type of medical catastrophe, and the wellness company's emergency kits are your best defense against the unexpected. Packed with life-saving medications like ivermectin, Z-Pak, amoxicillin, and more, these kits combine combat bacterial infections, staph, bite wounds, UTI, strep throat, and respiratory illnesses. Each kit includes their medical board-approved guidebook that walks you through how to treat different medical emergency scenarios. Ordering your prescription emergency kit is easy and fully digital. Answer a couple of questions after checkout, and your kit is delivered to your front door. Don't wait until disaster strikes. Act now. Get prepared for life emergencies and live with confidence in these uncertain times. Kits are only available in the USA. You can get yours today by heading to twc.health/oddmanout and use code oddmanout to get $30 off and free shipping. That's twc.health/oddmanout, code oddmanout for $30 off and free shipping. Links are down below. Okay. Voters have delivered a devastating verdict on Joe Biden's time in office, branding him the worst president in almost 50 years. An exclusive Daily Mail poll found Biden was less impressive than Jimmy Carter, who decimated the economy for a decade, who was voted out after a single term after presiding over double-digit inflation and a botched effort to rescue American hostages in Iran. The poll result also made him the worst in voters' minds than Richard Nixon, who forced to resign rather than face impeachment over the devastating Watergate scandal. Yet, when 1,000 registered voters were asked to rank the last 9 presidents in order from best to worst, Biden came at the very bottom of the table, making him the worst in 47 years. Some 44 placed him as one of the worst 2, while only 14% placed him in the top 2, giving him a net score of 30 points underwater. Who are the 14% of mouth breathers that placed him in the top 2? Genuine question. What mouth breathers put him, the 14% that put him in the top 2 presidents of the last 50 years, of the last 15 presidents, whatever it is? How does that even happen? They say Ronald Reagan was the second most positive. So they have Barack Obama. I almost said Barack O'Biden. Barack Obama at 41% is ranked the best president in history. That shows you how many people do not know what Obama actually did to this country. Ironically, Obama and many of the things that he did with Iran, with Russia, with Ukraine, with the hands up, don't shoot crap, with pushing a racial divide in this country, Obama, in my opinion, is probably one of the worst presidents. And if you say, I disagree, you do not know your history. Ronald Reagan is next. Again, I have issues with that. Reagan decimated California and turned it blue permanently by his immigration stuff. He ruined marriage with his no-fault divorce. Reagan, again, not that great. Donald Trump, ironically, comes in third with 30% of approval, ranked as far as being top presidents. So Barack gets 41 positive, Reagan got 40 positive, Trump got 30% positive ahead of Bill Clinton. They got 27% positive. Next came Jimmy Carter at 15%. And then Joe Biden positive, 14%. Bush, George W. Bush Jr., 13%. Bush Sr., 10%. And then Richard Nixon, 9%. But the worst president in modern history, number one, Donald Trump. See, that shows you how divided our country is right now. Trump is like third for the top president, and he's the worst president, or ranked the worst two presidents. That shows you how many people are like, if you called a Democrat, Donald Trump is the worst. If you called a Republican, like Trump is really good, as is Reagan. And then if you ask that same Democrat, well, who's the best? They'd say, well, Barack Obama. Jesus. Hold on. I got to punish myself.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
They say Barack Obama was number one. So it just shows you the divide. And they ranked Biden second worst, negative 44%, and then Nixon, negative 34%. And ironically, Barack Obama then is the next one after that with 20%. So there is 20% of people out there that really do understand how bad Barack Obama was to this country, ironically. They say there's always recency bias, and as Joe Biden is the incumbent, he starts off at a disadvantage there. Who said? They said he said. Who said that? Oh, James Johnson, co-founder of JL Partners, that conducted the poll. So he came out in defense of Biden. Shocking. But regardless of that, these numbers are worse than I expected. Okay, that right there tells you his bias. That right there tells you this bias when he's like, oh, those polls numbers are way worse than I expected for Biden. That tells you his bias. Voters have obviously looked at his age, general conduct in office, his botched withdrawal from Afghanistan, the situation at the southern border, and decided that, in their view, it qualifies him to be the worst president in modern history. I agree. And that's the position in which he leaves office, from the man who beat Trump to the man who let him back in and who voters feel has been fundamentally a bad president. Not a bad president, the worst president. Biden, 82, leaves office on January 20th next year. Gee, thanks for telling us how our political system works. He abandoned his re-election run in July as he languished far behind Trump in the polls, and his own allies demanded he step aside. Senior Democrats blame him for handling the election to the Republican and not giving Vice President Kamala Harris enough time to mount an effective campaign. Sweet irony. The Democrats effectively removed Biden from office against his will, in my opinion, and then they blame him for not getting out fast enough. Okay, here's my question. Why didn't you admit he was failing cognitively instead of he's brilliant, he does backflips around the room, and he's one of the most fundamentally important and brilliant strategists we've had as a president in all time? Why did you keep with that story up until the debate? Because they were going to limp him across the finish line, knowing he couldn't handle it. So don't blame Biden. Don't blame Biden. You could have asked for him to step down a long time ago, but you tried to pull the rug over Americans' eyes until it was too late and he got elected to a second term, and then you'd step him down and install President Dingbat Heels Up Harris. But your plan backfired. It just backfired way earlier than you thought it would, or way later than you thought it would, whichever, and you got caught with your pants down. And so instead of saying, yes, we screwed up, and we tried to run President Potato Head way too late, instead of taking the own accountability, they go ahead and blame the guy they forcefully removed. That tells you everything you need to know about the Democrats, the Democrat Party, the media, and everybody that lied that said he was a genius. He attracted further ire during the past week when he announced he was issuing a broad pardon to his son Hunter, convicted of gun and tax charges, reversing promises that he would do no such thing. Okay, but here's the thing. You're forcing the man out. You forced him out. He owes no allegiance to the Democrat Party. He owes no allegiance to not make the party look like a bunch of hypocrites and evil bastards. He owes you nothing. You screwed him in his mind. You screwed him in a lot of Democrats' mind because Heels Up Harris got in without a single vote ever being cast for her. So, of course, on the way out, he's like, Jill, his handler, his wife, of course she's going to say, look, Joe, they screwed us. They kicked you out. Now they're blaming you for Kamala's loss. At least do something for Hunter. At least do something for Hunter. I don't care that the Democrats are going to hate us. I don't care that it makes us look like double standards. How can the presidency that you ran, how can it look any worse? Just get our son Hunter off the hook. And he's like, all right, screw it. I pardoned him from everything from birth until yesterday, 5 minutes ago. And he did that, and it makes the Democrats look like two-faced assholes. And Biden's like, I don't care. You screwed me. So Biden gets the last laugh on the way out the door. They say our poll found that more than half of American voters believed he was wrong to pardon his son, and it sent Biden's historically low approval rating dropping another 4 points to 37%. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You forced him out in the Biden's mind. They say here's the full and unconditional pardon. They said 52% Biden was wrong to do it. 29% Biden was right to do it. 19% don't know. In other words, 19% of people don't pay attention to politics because they say my fate of my future is in the hands of astrology or some stupid shit. He appeared to doze off during a meeting of African leaders this week while he was in Angola. Maybe that's a picture. Maybe that's the picture of him waking up. Maybe this is the picture of him waking up after the meeting in Angola. What? The pizza? Okay. That all leaves him rock bottom in our table of presidents. Reagan, remembered as the leader who won the Cold War. Yep. Clinton comes in third. Yep. Nixon, already read that. But here's something they don't mention. And let me see if I can find the stories. Where are my stories? Where are my other stories? Damn it. I have them here somewhere. Where did my stories go? I had 2 more stories and my tabs are missing. I don't know where they are. Oh, sweet irony. Okay, I'll tell you the stories off the top of my head. You can www.webinternetsearch.com if you want to look them up. Biden promises $600 to $1 billion, $600 million to $1 billion to help rebuild African infrastructure. That is a story. FEMA can't get 100 trailers to North Carolina residents as they're freezing to death. So Biden's still giving and promising hundreds of millions and billions of dollars to Africa. And we've still got citizens that pay taxes and vote in the center of our country in East Tennessee and West North Carolina that are freezing in their homes, that are being told they can't live in a shed because the windows don't meet code, but you can sleep in a tent out right in front of the shed. You just can't sleep in the shed because it doesn't have proper plumbing. You can't have an indoor fireplace in a shed because it might burn down, but you can sleep out in your front lawn in a tent in 10 degree below zero weather. That's okay. And so they're promising more money to Ukraine and promising more money to, I don't know, gender studies in Iran. And we're promising hundreds of millions, if not billions, to rebuild infrastructure in Africa, which every time the infrastructure is done and they cut the red tape, a week later, there's no power and no running water because the people living there steal the pipes and steal the copper cables and sell them. But we're going to give more money there while North Carolinians and some people in Tennessee and North Georgia and even some people in West Virginia are sleeping in tents, freezing their asses off because they don't have a home, because insurance you don't have flood insurance in the mountains. And FEMA's like, tough shit, deal with it. That is why President Biden is failing. That's why a big portion why Democrats are failing. A big portion of why everything is going south for the Democrats. It's their own fault. It's their own problem. And until they fix their own messes up, I think things are just going to get worse for them because they're still all in on the LGHD TV, like Pride Train. They're still in all that. They haven't heard the voices of everybody saying, please stop. Please come back to the middle. Even though they're screaming now because the left has gone so far left, they're out of sight. They're over the horizon. And Democrat voters are like, please come back. I guess I'm Republican or I guess I'm independent now. You get what you deserve. You get what you deserve. Good luck to you, idiots.